Welcome back, Coens, to SMAdulting. We're on session 6, and this time we're sassing out the medical machine in Malaysia. I say medical because it does feel like a machine. It's heartless, it's soulless, it's terrible. It eats you alive. I do have to say, though, that Siapa makan cili, akan terasa pedas. This is a very, very Malaysian phrase. In that, if you feel butthurt over us sharing our lived experiences when it comes to the medical system in our lovely, lovely country, I suggest you ask yourself why you should feel defensive over it, over what we're saying. In the immortal and wise words of Ice Cube, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Um, before we jump into that, and I'm just gonna say this is my bad. This is like the third time we're starting the intro, and it's horrible. But I'm gonna have to ask Joyce and Aina if you guys are gonna go vote.
Yes, I
No.
will.
Okay. Joyce previously had said no. Can you just TLDR what you said previously in like one sentence?
Well, because I've never voted my entire life due to the fact that I feel that this country is doomed and it's a waste of effort due to the last few elections. What happened previously that even further discouraged me from voting.
Wild. I understand where you're coming from. Aina and I are going to vote. Purely because when you vote, and I'm very excited, we're going to have another person with disabilities who will be sitting as an MP, Dr. Aisha Maidin, if I'm not mistaken, that
Oh
is
yeah,
her
yes.
term. The more people we get to represent the disabled community in this country, the better for us. There's a lot of things that we have to discuss about when it comes to just that, but it's chill. It's totally fine. The reason why I ask is not because of the sanctity of the singular vote, but because of how difficult it is for us to actually go and vote. There's usually a systemic barrier when it comes to disabled and aged people who want to go and vote. Primarily, it's how do we get there without an entire family, a huge van? If you were alone, how do you get there? And secondly, once we're there, are there disabled services that can allow us to maneuver the situation in a safe and controlled way where we may cast our vote without feeling anxious? I think this will be my third general election. The first one I did in Australia, the second one I did here, and I remember exactly where I went. Instead of going myself to the booth, I had to be handled by my brother who had to lift me out a step or two. We had to cross a huge drain. And I'm like, how is this fair? This is bullshit. But as much as I want to rant about politics, etc., I understand that we have a show to run. Um, so we're gonna get back to that. Understanding outrage for the medical industry in this country. The reason why we're talking about this is because of the multitudes of instances where we're asked to put our lives in the hands of physicians, but these physicians have no adherence to the Hippocratic Oath. If you don't know what that is, Google it. It's fun. Instead of wielding the rod of Aesculapius, they hold the caduceus and have become slaves to commerce, to money. No longer do they become bannermen of well being and best care practices. They more often than not suckle on the teat of capitalism, and while that happens, we are affected. We die. Now, although I have made claims to physicians, what I actually mean is the whole system is bullshit and I hate it. Some doctors are totally cool, helpful, and wonderful individuals, wonderful, amazing people. We're not angry with those people. We are totally cool with them. We love them because they help us. We're not here to bitch about them. We're here to bitch about the doctors we have had who are the absolute worst. But I think the first question I'm going to ask is whether or not Joyce and Ina, do you still have doctors? Do you still have primary care physicians?
Nope.
Yes, for me,
Uh-huh.
because I'm still in pediatrics.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go into the adult clinic, I wouldn't have a primary doctor.
Okay.
But
Can
I'm
you
still in kids.
uh-huh. So you are definitely not a child. I can
Yeah.
confirm, but definitely above 25, right?
Yeah.
And
The
yet you are still with your peds neurologist.
not
Neuromuscular?
kids neurologist. No, no,
Hmm?
no. It's adolescent. I forgot it. Adolescent doctor.
Okay. So pretty much teens.
Mm.
What I remember we spoke about this online, but tell me what conversations you had with your doctor, the adolescent one, about why they haven't transferred you to an adult neuromuscular doctor or a specialist.
No, I don't think we have a conversation with my doctor. We never had because me myself also I don't want because I know if I transfer into the adult, it will be very I have to start from A to Z. It's very troublesome, and I don't know anyone. As long as my doctor said I'm okay to stay here, then I say okay, lah, that's
Hmm.
fine. Even my parents also agree, so yeah, we got no problem with that.
Mm-hmm. So the transferring is difficult. Is it something that you projected as difficult, or just the whole moving process of having your adolescent doctor just give? Are they allowed to give files to the new doctor, or is it like secret clandestine operation where you have to just go through it
I'm not sure.
again?
I'm not sure about that because I went to a few hospitals, so it's quite, you know, only adolescent is only in this hospital, and the other hospital I went out into adult doctors. So it's quite a contract. Like, how do you see that? It's a bit confusing, but I think I'm okay good. I'm still
Mm,
okay with this
mm-mm.
because if you go to the adult, definitely you'll be lost. You will see different doctor every time you go for a hospital visit. So it's like there's no primary doctor there.
Mm-hmm.
There's no point to go to the adult unless there's someone that can guarantee, okay, you'll be my main doctor. Then I'm good with it.
That's fair. That is absolutely fair. I know for a fact that PPUM has two blocks for neuro, and that includes neuromuscular. It's on Tuesday. I think Tuesday morning and Friday afternoon after the prayers. I
Mm.
know Joyce and I do not have a doctor for reasons. I'm gonna let Joyce go first and explain why she doesn't have a doctor.
Okay, I don't have a doctor right now, and I think the only one that I can refer back to if I have any issues would be my spine surgeon. Like he's
Mm,
the only one who is like I can refer back to, but there is no need for that right now because my spine is already fused, and that was like 10 years ago, 10, 11, yeah,
mm-hmm.
10, 11 years ago. So I don't have a doctor, and I don't want to stick to any doctor anyway because just like Aina said, they change doctors. There's no fixed doctor for you, and even if you go for it, it's mostly like, "Hi, how are you?" and just like a chat, and they use that what hammer thing to check on your muscles, and then
That
after
I'm
that,
just
it's
gonna interject for a while. That hammer thing is insanely wild to me because this doctor should know that our muscles don't work. Our neurological system is not that great, so the hammer is not going to be giving the results that they would understand or even give the atypical result because we've got neuromuscular disorders. Stop hitting me with that thing.
that's
Like
that's funny because that's what they do every time I go there. It's like every 3 months they say like, okay, we'll see you in the next 3 months, and then the next 3 months they do the same thing again.
it's always different doctors,
Yeah,
right?
it's different doctor.
It's
It's
a
always a
different doctor. It's not the
surprise.
same doctor.
And they have
So there's
Yeah.
what?
go ahead, yeah, please.
So like it's like the last doctor you told them about your condition, and then now you have to re-explain to the new one. So it's
I
like on
hate it.
repeat,
I
and you
hate
get
it so
tired of
much.
repeating.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I'm just like, this is my medical file. You can read through it, and usually they won't read through it. They just like scan across, and then they'll say, oh, okay, you have neuromuscular disease,
They don't even
and
scan
then
across. I remember asking one of the nurses, the staff nurses, who are the backbone of the entire industry, by the way. Without them, they're doing all the icky stuff. Um, and I remember asking one of the staff nurse, and I was like, "Oh, kenapa? Why do we have to like book months in advance?" The first thing she said was, "Oh, it's because there's just too many people and not enough doctors." Okay, I accept that. I accept that. We'll discuss the whole issue of the brain drain on a later date or in a later hour. But the other thing that she mentioned was, oh, we need to prepare the file so that the doctors can read it before the patient comes in. And in my experience, there is no such thing. They get the file and it sits there doing nothing. And when they finally come to see us, they ask us a million questions which are already in the file. And my file is what, 10 pages long? And one page is like 5 pieces of lines filled. And I'm like, it's not that hard. And I remember one time I took my file, flipped a few pages, and pointed to the answer that they were looking for. And I'm like, it's here. And they took the file away from me and said, oh, that's classified. You can't look at it. And I'm like, it's my file.
oh my
This is my
god,
entire medical history. Why is it classified? What bullshit did you write in here?
classified.
It's
Oh my
rubbish. It's
god.
absolutely rubbish. So I am going to eventually appeal or request for all my files to be given up to me, so that I may share them with other doctors if and when that happens. And I will have to do that because uh, laugh out loud, Evrizdi and what's the other one? Spinraza is in the country, but nobody knows about it. The doctors don't know about it. Um, but yes, back to why we don't have doctors. Well, 2 out of 3 of us don't have doctors is because doctors change. We lose faith in doctors, and then COVID happened, and even less. It just became not good enough for us to want to see them because they don't care.
You know, the only thing that motivates me to hospital is just only one thing:
What is it?
the tilt table.
Oh, I love the tilt table. I want to get
Oh,
one for myself so that
That's
when
the
I play
only
with the
thing
computer, I
that
will be
that
standing.
motivates me. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
and one more thing: the hand cycle. Yeah,
uh,
I don't
oh
like that.
yeah, the
It's
hand.
so
I don't
boring.
like the hand cycle. It's so
I hate it so
every
I
much.
like.
yeah, it's like every time you go to the physio, you have to do that. Yeah,
It's
one thing about the
it's
I
physiotherapy,
kind
they
of
are
like.
not creative. I think.
I remember going to
I kind
physiotherapy
of
in
like.
PPUM. Thankfully I had like a really good physiotherapist. She okay, wait. Uh she wasn't the physiotherapist, she was the occupational therapist, funnily enough, but we did physio with her. And
Oh,
I would come in the morning and be like, "Okay, do you want to try out something new?" And she'd be like, "Yes." What ideas do you have, you crazy child? And I'll be like, "Okay, how about dumbbells?" Before I was a little bit stronger, so we could do like a lot of dumbbell exercises and blah blah blah. But for the most part,
mm,
it came from my efforts to want to try new things. Had I not asked, we'll be doing the same 3 exercises over and over again. And I don't understand why, especially physiotherapy. I don't know enough about occupational therapy. I understand it's about being able to do the basic things like opening jars, using fork and spoon. It's occupational stuff, like, daily living things. But for physio, your body has a moment where it decides, I have done this repetitive motion enough times that it has become muscle memory. I am going to plateau now, and nothing you do will make it better, which means you have to change your sets, you have to change your repetitions, you have to change the exercises. And they just never realize this. And I'm wondering, like, are physiotherapists trained well? That's
I
always my
think
primary concern.
I think there is. I mean, like, because I previously I went to PPUM, I had a very good physiotherapist. I
Mm-hmm.
had him one time now before we keep on changing the physio plan every 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
So he was very good. He even like asked me, okay, what do you think we need to do this uh today? And then next week, and maybe we'll try something else. He's the only one that very good. Even all the since I mean adults and all the auntie and uncle also puji him like, oh yeah, he's very good. Like he will ask us the feedback like, what do we need? What do you think you need for your
Mm.
body? I think it depends on the physiotherapy itself lah.
I think
Because
so too.
not all, not to say all lah. Maybe it is some and that.
I guess it's like that for a lot of things. Good, like people who want to be in the industry, not for money, tend to do better. The ones that are
Mm-mm.
here because their parents are like, oh, you should go to school and become either a lawyer, a doctor, or an engineer. And I'm like, why? Don't urge people who are in it for money to become a doctor. They're not going to save you, they're not going to help anyone. Get them away.
Yeah,
We don't want
they're
them.
not true. They're
Make
not
them,
doing that because of their patient.
yeah, they're doing it for money, and I hate it. Like this is an entire industry. Let's not talk about it in terms of capitalism for a while. This is an entire industry built on nurturing the human animal. And that is what we are. As a society, as a community, we function within a tribal system that assists each other as we grow together. And then you have people going, oh, why are you a doctor? Because I can get rich. And I'm like, okay, how and why? Go be a lawyer or something. Damn. I cannot deal with it. I really cannot deal with it. Like I just wow. Anyway, when it comes to medical system, I feel like I have not met a larger percentage of good doctors than I have met a huge percentage of doctors who just don't care. And it was brought up just now by Joyce, especially. We don't see the same doctors. Every year it's a new person. Every year is a new explanation, as if things have not
It's
changed.
not every year, it's every 3 months.
Every 3 months for you. I used
Yeah, every
to.
3 months.
For, that's wild because I used to go once a year.
I
Because
think it depends
Yeah.
on what clinic writes.
I guess so lah. Like it's once a year to do the medical checkup. Again, COVID happened and I haven't been to see a doctor for since November of 2019.
Oh
Same.
my, that's
That is a long time. A lot of things have changed and my muscular deterioration has been progressive very quickly too, which is kind of terrifying. So what I did was I finally got referral letters to go to different hospitals to check on the whole of Risdi and Risdiplam. Oh no, sorry, not Risdiplam, Spinraza thing. And hopefully they come up with something. But from what I heard from my doctor is they phoned the specific hospitals to speak to the specialists, and they were like, "I don't know what you're talking about. What treatment?" And this is wild to me because you're supposed to be telling us what is good for us. Like this is what I want people to understand. 80% of people will not do their own homework. So even if you have an ailment, it doesn't mean you will be up to date. There are a select few of other people, 20% of us, and I would like to include myself in that 20%. We seem to know a lot of things. And yet, when we go to see a doctor, they are incredibly dismissive about this. And I'm like, if you're a doctor right now and you're listening in and you're feeling the pain of being called out, question why you're feeling this pain. I don't want to answer that for you. Do your own emotional labor, man. But what I'm complaining right now is if I, an informed patient, well, informed enough, tells you, hey, there's a treatment, can you help me? You just need to send an email, man. And then keep abreast of the situation. Tell me if something is going on instead of going dark. You're not 12 years old. You do not get to ghost people in your industry. So that's
But
that's
it
my
only happen in adult doctors.
Ken. It
Adult
I wouldn't
doctor,
say
because
not even only it
not
only
not
ever.
every because if in my experience, my case, the pig doctor did tell me about, there's a treatment, but she can't do anything because it's out of her range because I'm already 27,
Uh-huh.
but she knows there is a treatment and the treatment is working.
Mm-hmm. So what's
Just that
stopping you from, because the treatment is available now, two different treatments which would hopefully reduce the cost, which is a barrier within itself. But the more people who go and ask the doctor to send in a letter of interest, maybe because when people say the customer is always right, it's the movement of the market, not the individual customer. So if we can move enough of the market, maybe they will change the price. But that also means we need the government to help. But we're, the budget was just called out. Fun things happened. We heard that rare diseases got more money, and then we heard spinal muscular atrophy be mentioned, and I was pretty excited about that. And then Parliament dibubarkan, and we all know what happens when Parliament dibubarkan to the budget. The budget pergi ke laut lah. It goes, it pisses off into the sun. And I'm like, okay, I hope they keep the budget because we really need that money. The government is not doing a good job. Let me just say that. I am voting for the right people in, hopefully. It hurts. It hurts. Every time I talk about this, it just hurts. I don't know, man. I know, okay.
just the politics is just too much.
Here's the thing, like people go, oh, we don't want to listen. We don't want to listen to you talk about politics. We don't want to talk about politics. We don't want to think about politics. And I'm like, everything is politics.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Unfortunately. Like if you don't fight for yourself in this country, you get no representation.
And that is why you have to go to food. Please,
Yes.
if you can, if you have the accessibility, you can vote, please go.
That's
One vote means a lot.
again, just outlining what you just said. If you have the accessibility,
Yeah.
just man, universal accessibility is a thing. If we vote the right people in, maybe they will make it accessible. Maybe they will do something about postal voting. I have so many friends who are able, by the way, who are like, oh, I can't go home and vote because the tickets are too expensive. And they work sa Mananjong. And I'm like, that sucks, dude.
I got it.
And I have heard of people having their ICs used on behalf of them to vote for a different party.
Oh.
Yan lah, typical lah.
Yeah.
Churi macam tu. But this was not the point. I'm gonna go back to Aina and ask you: are you going to attempt to see an adult neuromuscular specialist to at least put the letter in?
Yes, I will. In fact, I already make appointment, which is
Nice.
11/11. A good number can.
Yes. You get massive discounts on internet websites, and you get to see the doctor. I just got my referral letter, and I have to go see them to make an appointment.
Okay. When is it?
I don't know. It will depend on whether or not ada space lah. I don't mind waiting. I have the patience of a saint. I will wait for months as long as I can see these people. But
Yeah.
the patience of a saint ends 10 minutes into the conversation with the doctor. And it really depends on whether or not they're asking the right questions. And if those questions are already available in the file, I have no patience for that. Half the time I'm thinking, should I come with an FAQ, like a piece of paper, A4 sized, with like 15 questions that they usually ask, and I'll be like, I'll give you 5 minutes to read through this. You can
Will
read
they
quick,
read?
right? No, this
But
is
will
this is a
they
plan
read?
that I want to
Like,
do. Jadi ke tak, I tak tahu lah.
yeah, but the thing is that will they read? That's the
Ah,
thing. Usually, no lah.
I'm gonna watch them read it. Like, no, take 5 minutes. Be quiet. It's reading time. Shush, read. I also don't think I've done the Hammersmith testing scale. Let me just buka buku jap. There's so many testing thingies that we can check out from doctors, but I haven't done them. Let's see. So I haven't done the
Let's see.
Hammersmith Functional Motor Scale. I have not done the Motor Function Measure 20. I haven't done the Gross Motor Function Measure. I haven't done 6-minute walk test, which I will fail because I'm non-ambulatory anymore. I haven't done the quantitative muscle testing. I have not done the the neuromuscular gross motor outcome. I have not done the revised upper limb module. I don't know what all of these things are. I was told that they are good from Kaka Google, and yeah, I'm gonna check this out. And I also have to do so many testing to see if my spine is not destroying me from the inside. I can breathe. Was it? I need to do a lung function test. I need to do a blood test because I'm old and see whether or not my cholesterol is good or bad. The old people shit. But I don't want to because it's a chore. Because when you go menghadap the doctor, it's like you're beseeching a god. When we have spent at least 4 hours waiting. I don't know how to deal with that. And over, I hear you're supposed to cajole the doctor. You're supposed to be nice to the doctor. You're supposed to, um, what? I, no, I'm just, I cannot. I'm sorry. That's not how it works. This is a service. They're doing a service. They're being paid to do a service. I cannot accept that. And then you have the problem with a certain persons with wherewithal to want to privatize the medical system. Do y'all not see what is happening in America right now? Momatika. I don't get it. I hate it. But we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. Because right now I want to hear the messed up things doctors have said to you. And anecdotally messed up things doctors have said to other people that we have heard of. Joyce, do you want to start?
There's there's one sentence that is the most popular among
Mm-hmm.
doctors, I think, because every one of them I've seen, they said exactly the same sentence. So the sentence is, "You're just overthinking."
Or what?
Oh, for
In
what?
context?
Like, if you tell them, "I have pain here, so I need to check," and then they won't probe further. They'll just say, "Oh, it's normal. You're just overthinking." And then after that, they'll just prescribe you painkillers, and that's it. Done. You're out the door. So I've also experienced that with psychiatrists. Uh, well, the job of a psychiatrist is to assess your mental health, but the ones I've met have been very, very terrible experiences.
Mm-hmm.
They dismiss my anxiety and suicidal thoughts and said that it's my own problem, and they just simply prescribe antidepressants and sleeping pills, and then I'm out the door again. So I've already stopped trying to waste time with psychiatrists. I don't go and see them. I just try
Mm-hmm.
to deal with it on my own. So yeah, they just always tell you you're just overthinking. Like the one time I had very bad back pain, and then I went to see the doctor, and he just brushed me off, and he said, "Is there any other problems that you have?" And then I'm like, "Oh." I kind of like freeze at that moment.
What?
And then after that, I said no. And then after that, he said, "Okay, I'll just prescribe you some painkillers," and I'm out the door again. So yeah.
Oh, that is wild. That is
Yep.
so incredibly dismissive. But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, there are so much. It's not just disabled people who go through this. If you're fat, if you're a person of, if in Malaysia, you know, if you're not a majority, you are dismissed. They don't believe you when you say, "I am in pain." They're like, "You're not in pain." I'm like, "But I am though." I remember bringing this up because it every year this pops up. Doctors don't believe patients, especially if they're da 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 da. And then a person I know who is a doctor replied with, "Oh, I I don't believe that's true because myself and my friends who graduated in so and so university, that's not how we're trained." And I'm like, "I hope you see how ironic your statement is, because you have just told me that my lived experiences is false." Like when I just told you doctors don't believe when we tell them something. Like irony? Like Alanis Morissette level irony? Maybe? Of course they didn't get it. And I sort of didn't want to push the topic because I don't want to speak with them. Because it's tiring. I don't want to have to explain my position over and over again to people who refuse to understand. And I guess that is the kind of thing that we don't want to do when we have to go to the doctor, which is why I'm so tired. God, I'm so tired.
Exactly. That is how I feel.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Wild. What else? What else have people told you?
Um, I think for the most part, it's like the doctors, like they don't give you the time of the day to discuss further.
Mm-hmm,
They won't spend time to understand the situation, and even if you share with them, it's like, oh, okay, and they just give a few sympathetic nods, and then they'll say that, okay, that's all for now. We'll see you again in the next 3 or 6 months. Yep.
That's what I said. That's happened in adult doctors with the adult doctor,
mm.
but not
Can
in
you
pigs.
can you tell me
I
your experiences with peds and adolescent?
okay. My pigs and adolescents and adult. Okay, let me do this.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Okay, I
yes.
had I think a conversation with an adult doctor last 2 years, or is it last year? I can't remember.
Mm-hmm,
Okay, it's about the treatment. When I told her that there is a treatment, she knows. She knows. She knows there's a treatment. Okay, and she
mm-hmm,
was like, "You, how old are you?" She asked me, and I was like, that time I was 20 something. Can't remember, 25, 26. And yeah, you have achieved a lot. You got a degree. You got a something that you can work. Your hand is still functioning. You don't need a treatment. Forget about it. That is the harsh things that I ever heard from a doctor. So we okay now. I stopped the conversation. I don't want to stop. There's no point of talking to her because
mm,
she won't listen. But in pigs, when I told them that there is a treatment, they will listen and they will like, oh, okay, let me know what I can help you. How, is there anything that I can help you with? So she did something help me. even Google about the treatment itself. She doesn't know. We don't know. But then she was like, oh yeah, there is. Okay, let's see what can I do. This and that. That's the difference between adult and the adolescent doctor. I think.
There's
Okay,
more
that's it.
empathy
Can we just
from
go
the
to kids?
adolescents. Sorry, Joyce, yes.
I said, okay, that's it. Can we just go into kids?
We can't go into peace because we're adults.
Yeah.
There's so much more hope in pediatrics because they have to see the future. They're dealing with children. Children are always touted as the future, but once you're adult, you're forgotten. It's I have mentioned this over and over again. People often fight for the rights of children, but when that child turns 18, and then what? And then you leave them in a ditch somewhere to become homeless because you don't want to help them. You just want to be self-righteous. That's what people want to be. They want to make themselves feel good, but they don't want to really address inherent sociological issues.
But is it because doctors doesn't see adults much in the clinic? Like example, our SMA stuff. Like not much. When I ask them, do you see any adults, SMA adults? They say no, not really. Only a few. Are there a few jail?
But that's
Maybe.
besides the point. Just because they see one or two doesn't mean they have to throw their empathy and hope and small amounts of joy out the window that every time they see an SMA, oh, SMA pergi mampus lah.
Yeah, SMA like no chance to live.
It's wild. I remember somebody telling us, and this is a parent to a child with SMA. The child was born with SMA type 1 or one of the more debilitating ones, and the doctor straight up said, there's nothing you can do, so just make the kid comfortable because they're going to pass away anyway. This was quite a few years ago, but even then, like, you're straight up just telling people that their kid's going to die. There's no way about this when there is. You just don't want to hassle yourself. You just don't want to go out of your way to become a good doctor, a good physician. You don't want to follow the Hippocratic Oath of first do no harm. You're doing a big harm. Like, it's not even indirectly. You're directly harming your patient. And that's embarrassing.
It's funny that they are selective. They are selective in choosing who they want to treat.
Right?
So there's no point with the oath. I feel like if you're selective with who you want to treat, then why with the oath and stuff like that?
No, I don't think they actually do the oath. I think the oath is like one of those things where, first do no harm. Medical school. Yay. Like, they don't actually take up a sumpahan. Like, I swear to not do any. No. I don't think they actually do that.
Show, okay.
Yeah. It's just like, hey guys, we have an oath. We're doctors. No, you're doctors for money at this point. Just be a lawyer. You do better. Go protect a criminal or something. You're good at that. It's just wild to go in and just have the humility. I understand that you're tired. Fight. Hartal doctor. That happened. And yet, fight harder. Unionize. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But I know what I am. I'm pissed. Because I'm not getting what I'm supposed to be getting. Neither are you guys. I'm mostly also pissed because treatment is in the country, yet nobody knows about it.
I think it's back to ourselves. We have to educate ourselves about our own condition.
Nak educate sendiri pun, like, we need bigger reach, guys.
Yeah.
If you haven't liked, commented, or subscribed to this channel or shared SMAdulting, I think you should, if only to get other people to understand that SMA is a thing and that there are other adults. Can you imagine? We were told by a particular pharmaceutical company, and I wasn't told this personally, but it was sort of offhand from the grapevine comment, and they said spinal muscular atrophy adults don't care about treatment in Malaysia. I almost spit blood, bro. Almost projectile vomited blood hearing this. And I'm like, of course I care, because this means that I can function better. This means that I'm not afraid of heart failure at a young age. This means that I will not be afraid that I won't be able to get off my chair because my muscles have failed. This means that I can continue doing what I do best. It might not cure this, but it will halt or slow down progression. Of course I care. I'm an adult with SMA. I care. When you say adults with SMA don't care, it's because adults with SMA don't know. There's a difference between not knowing and not caring. Also, there's a problem because of cost, but again, the market provides and it is dictated by the people. But it was wild hearing somebody go, oh, adult SMA patients don't care. Wala bapa dia lah. We care. We care a lot.
We care, just that our voice are not heard.
And as usual, a lot of the medical industry sort of dissemination of information is trapped behind a wall of jargon. How do you expect people to understand what is happening when you use big words that most of us don't use on a daily basis, like oligonucleotides? What the hell is that? I don't know what that is. I can repeat it, but it doesn't mean I know what that is. I'm a layman. Use small words. Make understand good. I'm not saying we're stupid. I'm saying a majority of us will not care. Just say Evrisdi and Rizdiplam. Sorry, I keep saying Rizdiplam. Spin Raza and Evrisdi in Malaysia for pay by self. Need help? Question mark. I feel like we just lack effective communication, and because we function in a society that has multiple different ethnicities, we forget that we need to translate for them. Accessibility is a big deal, and that also means going into the pits and sort of understanding that people speak different languages. We need to provide information in all these languages. Like, I remember talking to somebody like, oh, do you know that these treatments are in the market? They're like, no. Why? Because most of the news is in English and I don't speak English. Heck. We come from a very select group of people who are privileged enough to speak in the English language. That's a lot. There's so much to fix. There's so much to fix, so little time, so little resources. And yet we are stonewalled by the medical profession. Because every time a layperson like us brings an interesting topic related to our disease up, they are disinterested. They brush it aside. Oh, they're so busy. It's very sad. Sad. What other messed up things have doctors said to you? Give up was pretty bad, to be honest. Like do nothing. You're done. I'm still laughing at the doctor who said, "Oh, you've got a career. You're an adult now. You have money." Yeah, but what if I want to go dive with tiger sharks? What if I want to climb Mount Kinabalu? What if I wanted to do all sorts of things, backpack by myself?
I
And
bet
then what?
yeah, I bet she will say, you don't need that. Or you need that.
Why? Why not? Why don't I need that? Just because this doctor doesn't have aspirations to do anything beyond their boring ass life. I'm so angry. Like when you project this idea of what another person should want in their life, you have no right to do that. Like this includes me as well. Like I have no right to tell other people what to feel. But what I am telling you right now is how I feel.
Yep.
And it's whether or not it's really up to you if you want to sort of compound that emotions. Let us all feel bad collectively that I cannot go swim with tiger sharks. Joyce, just subscribe. How dare you? There's just so much we can do. There's, like I said, there's so little resources. There's so little of us, and if I had that treatment, I could possibly be available enough to do outreach programs. It's a cyclical chicken and the egg sort of thing. If I help myself, I can use that to help other people. But to help other people, I need to first help myself. But to help myself, I need a good doctor. And we're fresh out of those because in this country, good doctors go away. They go to other countries to find better employment, better money, better way of living. They're not doing 36 hours being on call. And that is wild to me. I feel for you, doctors. I feel for you who have to stay up for 36 hours. That's not right. But that doesn't mean you have to dismiss your patients.
I do believe there are still good doctors. There are still a lot of good doctors.
I believe that too.
It's just that we haven't met. Maybe some of us haven't met a good doctor yet.
Is there like a dating app that's not dating, but it's for patients and doctors? Quite right, for a great doctor. I'm like, yes.
I wish.
You like fishing? Cool. You have a lake house? That doesn't matter. But do you like neuromuscular stuff? Chill. Doctor and chill. Let's go. But this, I don't know. I'm making a lot of mouth noises right now because I just don't know where to put these very, very negative emotions.
So just spill it out.
I mean, they're
Yeah,
coming
it's
out right
okay.
now. I'm gonna piss off a lot of people who are doctors and be like, how can you say that? And I'm like, I can't say that because these are my lived experience. If you don't want me to say it, fix it.
Well, you've already stated there, right? Siapa makan, cili, akan, terasa, pedas. So you just might as well say it.
Exactly. I mean, if you get butthurt, consider why you are feeling that way. If you're insulted, maybe consider your current practices may not be amazing. I'm looking for a Terry Pratchett quote that is relevant in this situation because Terry Pratchett has a quote for everything. This is from the book Weird Sisters. Everybody should read Discworld. Genuine anger was one of the world's greatest creative forces, but you had to learn how to control it. That didn't mean you let it trickle away. It meant you damned it carefully, let it develop a working head, let it drown whole valleys. Thank you, Papa Bad. In the mind. And then just when the whole structure was about to collapse, opened a tiny pipeline at the base and let the iron-hard stream of wrath power the turbines of revenge. I'm like, there's not really any revenge here that we're working towards. We're working towards legitimate change within the system. I know we are just 3 people, but maybe this sentiment will go out to more people and it will attach to your mind like an interesting song and build and stay and collect. And then when it's time to vote, you do the right thing. It is. Moving on. I think we've spoken about the messed up things doctors have said to us. I'd like to say we don't complain enough when we get these kinds of rubbish throwaway comments, what we see is that most, not all, hashtag not all doctors, but most lack empathy. I mean, again, I know you're tired and capitalism had disrespected you in your field, pushing you to beyond your physical and emotional well-being, but come on. If you don't have any more empathy for your patients, quit. I'm not joking. Just like the patients you have voluntarily told that they have no more hope, leave. Now, my question is, where is the problem? Is it governance? Is it the medical fraternity? Is it pharmaceutical companies? Who do we talk about this? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
I don't have the answer.
Like, none of us. We're
Not
in
really
none of these things. We are just merely patients. But I'm gonna bring up
the healthcare system.
the healthcare, the medical fraternity. I think it's all of the above. But there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
Like, we cannot fight for you just like you cannot fight for us. We can give you information just like you can give us information, and then it's up to us to sort of move things along. But just like you, we need that information. We need to be pushed into the right direction. You know, we're the horses that you need to lead to water. Whether or not we drink is really up to us. But you are our primary defense against what is the word? Against not knowing. If I were to go up to my doctor without the knowledge that I have about this disease and ask them, "Hey, can you tell me more about this disease?" What kind of answers do you think I'm gonna get?
They'll definitely say you don't know.
You don't know. Maybe what's his face saying spinal muscular atrophy exists in Parliament did some good. I don't know. I never asked.
What about what are the good things that doctor have said to you and you remember so well?
I don't know if there's any good things. I'll say a funny thing. I was joshing around with my doctor, who is the physiotherapist, and we were doing grip strength test, and I was gripping onto her fingers for dear life. And then at the end of the test, I let go, and she looked at me dead in the eyes, and I stared back dead in the eyes because I know some sassy thing is gonna happen. And she goes, "Sha, if you ever fall out a window and you're holding on to the side of the railing, just let go, man." And I'm like, I understand. My grip is so weak. I think that is by far the funniest. And it wasn't said with malice. It was said in like, "Dude, you're so weak. Just let go, man." And I'm like, I understand. I will.
What's your grip? What's your grip? What's the power of your grip? Is it 0 or is it 1?
I think at that time it was 2. But it's not strong. Like, if you fall out of a window and you need to hold on,
Yeah,
there's no holding on. There is only fall. The question is, when I fall, what song am I singing? I have to think about all these things. Most people will be like, if I fall, I'm going to try and grab. And I'm like, no. If I fall, there is only fall. But on the way down, make it funny. I will leave people with the funniest scene. And then I will die happy. But that's not the point. The point is not death. I don't want to die. I have a lot of things to do. I'm a very busy woman. But it sort of circles back to the Dr. Aina saw, who's like, "Oh, you've been there. You've done that. You don't need to." Like, it's 25. She has another 50 years to go. At least. If the medical system bucks up and discovers the portion of immortality. I heard it has something to do with jellyfish, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me. So this is 50 years of life. They're saying you are 25, your life is over. And I'm like, lady, 25, your life is over. My life just started. I don't have children. There's a reason for that. For the record, I'm not 25. I'm much older than that. And
You
still,
know, wait. You know what's the best thing an occupational therapist has ever said to me?
mm-hmm.
Uh,
The best thing. You want to have a go at the Xbox?
Oh shit, yeah.
And then I'm like, yes. And then I played Forza Horizon and Left 4 Dead.
I think
And
that was the
then,
greatest day. Please continue.
yeah. So, every time I pop by at OT, I was like, I want to have a go at the Xbox if you guys are still busy. So, I'll just chill there. And when you guys are ready, then you just call me. So that's the best thing.
I think situationally when they start getting video games in the occupational and physiotherapy centers, I was like, yes. Because that is how you're
yes.
gonna get people to exercise. I exercise by myself because, that's the kind of person that I am. Exercise good. Exercise gives energy and oxygen to your whole body. I understand that. But for a lot of people, exercise hard. I lazy. I need a nap.
They tried to put me on the Nintendo, what W2? I think is
Or the
it
Wii?
called that?
No, it's
Yeah.
just the Wii.
So I kind of feel at that. So they told me to play the games that required hand and eye coordination. So yeah, uh, not really quick with my reflexes, but at least I enjoy doing exercise with the game console. Yeah.
That
That
is
is a
fair.
different thing. Yeah.
I think that is fair. Like, occupational therapy would be good for this. I also love the idea of gamification within occupational therapy and physiotherapy. I firmly believe that every person above the age of 70 should be playing video games because it keeps their brain going.
Mm.
Yes, that is definitely.
I don't know, like play golf or something. Golf with friends is the worst game ever to have come into fruition because it makes you a horrible person, but at the same time, it is fun as hell. Highly, highly recommend it. But these are all video games. I love video games. I wish more people play video games, and if you are subscribed to this channel, you know that I play a lot of games. There, but that's not the point. Even then, you have a lot of doctors who are like, "Oh, I don't know if video games would help my patient," and I'm like, "Have you tried?" No. Then why do you say it's not going to help your patient if you haven't tried? I feel like for the most part, they don't want to try new things because situationally, conventionally, things have been done in a certain way already, and they cannot break from that tradition because they will get chastised. Or they cannot try new things because simply they don't have the time. I understand that. I understand that there is a finite amount of time. There's a lot of patients to go through. There are so many things you could do. But again, throw it back to us. Suggest things that we may try at home if we can. I'm a very honest person. If you say, "Oh, can you try doing jumping jacks?" and I'm like, "No, I can't do that." I'm not gonna tell you I'll try and not do it. I'll be straight with you. I understand that not a lot of patients will say that because they are, funnily enough, trying to impress you and trying to save face. It's something. It's it's a very strong feeling that we have in Southeast Asian or just Asian countries in general. This idea of safe face. You need to protect your ego at all costs.
And
This is a problem with
oh,
patients.
wait, you mean when they are asked if they can do something, they will say yes?
Yes. Okay. I will give you an example. So I spoke to a 21-year-old adult male with spinal muscular atrophy about how name drop We Care Journey has a lot of things that are done on behalf of SMA patients. One of the things is called telehealth, which is physio online.
Mhm.
So I was telling this guy about it, and I also spoke to his mother on a separate chat. And I asked him about exercise, what kind of activity he does, and I asked him whether or not he has tried telephysio. And he said, "Oh, no, I haven't tried telephysio." And I was like, "Oh, okay, you can definitely ask your mom. It's you don't have to pay anything. It's free as long as you are um respectful of the use. You can just go to WCJ and ask them about it. They'll get you to sign some papers. You know, no hidden fees. We're not a banking industry where we're just going to penalize you based on interest." And he was like, "Oh yeah, no, I don't know about this. I'll definitely send them an email. I'll definitely talk to my mom about it." And I was like, "Oh, cool, cool, cool." Ended the conversation. Then I spoke to his mom, and I was like, "Oh, I spoke to so and so about telehealth, and he said he'll talk to you about it. So I'm just checking up." And she was like, "Oh, he's done it. He canceled it." And I'm
What do
just
you mean
sitting
he
there like,
cancelled?
he didn't want to do it anymore because it was too difficult, or he was being pushed too hard.
Um,
And for spinal muscular atrophy, you have to understand fatigue is not our friend. If we get fatigued, that is 2 weeks of our lives we'll never get back.
Yes, that is true.
yeah, that's true. Oh,
I
mm,
and the two of you understand this, but a lot of people with spinal muscular atrophy don't understand this. So when they go to therapists, um, or personal trainers, these PTs or therapists will push them into fatigue, which is bad. This is why we need to sort of know this disease and know how our body functions so we can tell them that's not going to work. But the point of the matter is,
yeah.
he lied to me.
I think he just doesn't want to have a longer conversation.
If he doesn't want to have the longer conversation, say, "I've tried it, I don't like it." The end. I'm not going to
Yeah,
push
but
him.
you might ask you you won't know that you might ask him like why? It's free,
I
it's
mean,
like fun, all those things.
the thing is, we
You know
had a
what?
long conversation about it anyway, when it
Oh,
could end in like 3 sentences instead of like 15 to 20 minutes of wasting my time for something you already know.
uh, you know what? Like for me, if I cannot do it, if I know that it would cause me fatigue, I would just straight out say, no, I cannot do it, and I won't do it.
Yeah, like,
That's it.
be
Yeah,
straight, be direct.
it's
Like,
your body. You know yourself.
exactly. You're not gonna hurt anyone's feelings by saying no. I don't understand why people don't do that. Just say the thing. Just say you don't want to do it. I'm not gonna force you. I'm not your mom.
Peer pressure or something like that, expectations. You know, you have to live up to expectations. This is most common in Asian families. If you don't push yourself, you're not making an effort. Blah blah blah. You
Ah,
know that. You know the whole routine. You know the whole thing, how it
the
goes.
entire shtick of that kind of nonsense. I can't deal with it. Uh, it's like, if we can't be honest with ourselves as patients, how can we expect the medical professionals to be honest to us? Like, big question. Nobody's gonna answer that. But yeah, this whole show face things need to disappear. It's archaic. It's it doesn't make sense. Like, you want questions, you want things to like progress without expectations. Like, imagine if I told you about telehealth. Instead of wasting 20 minutes of your time, Teresa, I have tried it. It didn't work for me. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Cool, done. I mean, the whole point of me having that conversation was to ask whether or not they have heard of Evrizi and Spinraza being in the country, which Evrizi has been here since July, if I'm not mistaken. Was it June or July? Yeah,
But,
one
I
of those
can't
dates.
remember.
It's been a while. It has been a long while. And still, we have communities that haven't disseminated the information to the rest of the spinal muscular atrophy gang. We still have people going, "Oh, I didn't know." So the fact we have to spoon feed people is not a problem. Like, this is a community of being spoon fed anyway. That's how we grew up in school. We never learned to learn. We never did things for ourselves. It was always to show face, to be good children, to be better for your parents. We were never taught to find information. So, with that in mind, how do you expect people to look for information themselves? We're going to have to spoon feed them. And that's what we rely on professionals to do. I'm not saying it is solely the duty of the professionals, but it is on their onus to provide us with that information. I think there is a NPR article. The article pretty much talks about how within the medical community, and I understand that NPR is primarily in America, but still, I feel like it's relevant everywhere because all doctors everywhere are functionally the same mentally. When these doctors see a person in a wheelchair, it's automatically this assumption that we are inept. We are unable to speak for ourselves. We are unable to be an expert on our own situation. We are spoken over more often than not. I think that's a big problem.
Yeah, but it's not just the doctors, it's even the public.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Like, it's not just the doctor. It's
Uh-huh.
especially everyone, not everyone lah. I mean, like, not doctors.
Uh-huh.
Normal people pun ada je kan. They,
Uh-huh.
like, let's say like we are buying something or you're buying something with your mom. And then, of course, Acacia will talk to your mom instead of you.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I don't really hang out with my mom often, so we're not sort of situationally in front of other people, but I tend to hold my own. And I also have friends who will protect me in those kind of situations. Like if I'm asking about something, and for example, the salesperson sees me asking the question and then addresses my friend will look at the salesperson and will say, "Don't look at me. She was the one that asked you."
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's like passing the information. I'm just looking at the salesperson like, "Bro, are you kidding me?" But that is always functionally a similar sort of situation when you go to hospitals. I don't like going to hospitals. I don't like going into the room with anyone else around because what's going to happen is instead of asking me the questions, they will ask my dad or my mom or whoever looks able.
That accompany us.
And I'm like, wait, they're not experiencing my life. They don't know what my grip strength is. It's terrible, by the way. Ask me the questions. Provided those questions aren't already in the file that you have. For example, family. Like, how many family members do you have? Like, I have stated in the previous one that, there is a set amount. There's no more extra children. Tubes have been tied. Like, why do you need to ask this? It's vexing. What do we want from the NPR article? What do we want from the medical community exactly? Thoughts?
I've scanned through the two articles and well, it's pretty much the same situation I face when I go to hospitals. They usually put you waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it can go on for hours, and then you're wondering why are the other patients getting seen before you, who arrive like way earlier than them. So the only thing I can say is that uh, they sort of see disabled patients as like extra work, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then they always have this funny question that they will ask, who's gonna transfer you to the bed or the stretcher or stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm thinking like, why can't you guys help? And if they see that you have a helper, they just expect that the helper can do all of it, the whole process of transferring you on the high, really, really high hospital bed by
Mm.
themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's ridiculously high, the examination bed. I don't know why the bed is so high, and it usually isn't adjustable. I
Yeah,
still
see,
cannot wrap my
the
head around that.
the assumption is, and I also understand that the Ministry of Health is grossly, grossly underfunded, especially since they cut a lot of the funding several years ago. Adjustable beds would be nice, so I can transfer myself instead of having somebody giving me a wedgie. Like that's what
Yeah,
I do not miss. Somebody
yep,
else sort of not listening to me when I tell them how to pick me up.
yep.
I like cheese. I don't like flowers. No, I'm kidding. Uh, Lifting me, for example, I usually say, okay, pretend you're carrying a really drunk person from a bar. Also, give me a bear hug and lift with your knees. Don't pull my underwear because I don't like wedgies, man. They do that. When they lift
They
you up, it's
like,
like they're gonna grab
yes,
your pants and lift,
yes,
and I'm like, oh my god,
yes.
it hurts. Stop.
They always
My
do that.
my
I don't
butt
know why.
crack is now 2 times longer, I think, because of that.
It's not just a butt crack. It's like your perineum is kind of like gonna tear apart.
It's like now that you mention it, those wedgies are making me an even bigger asshole. Let me just put it that way,
No.
literally and figuratively.
I mean, what do they expect by holding the underwear? I don't understand. I
It's
really
it's
don't
for
understand.
stability, um, because the assumption is usually it's for like adult diapers or pants. When you hold, you have like a central sort of ballast.
I don't think it works. I don't think it works. It
No,
doesn't
because
work.
we are functionally sacks of potatoes. We have no muscle mass to keep ourselves upright. So when they hold that side, we can just flop over backwards. It's
Oh
they
my
just
god.
don't understand that and they refuse to listen when we tell them how to carry. And when I tell people
They
how to
usually
carry, it's because I'm
manhandle.
worried that they might injure themselves. I don't want that to happen. I'm already disabled. I don't need another disabled person and me being the cause of that.
They
Like I have
usually.
such
Yeah.
a a bad habit of trying to circumvent other people's possible injuries that every time my friends are like, "Oh, I hurt my back." My immediate question is, "Oh shit, is it my fault?"
Oh,
Like
okay.
like it is so hardwired in me to say that because they help me a lot. So whenever they get
Mhm.
injured, it's like, "Oh, it's me. It's me, isn't it? I did that." Ah,
The guilt.
the guilt. Because I'm so afraid. Like I don't want to hurt people, and that includes doctors, nurses, and everybody in between. Like I don't want
Mm.
to hurt you. Listen to me when I'm telling you how to help me. Don't
Well,
just
they
nod.
usually end up manhandling.
I mean, manhandling is fine. Like I'm hardy AF. I'm like a cockroach with no legs. You just cannot kill me. I hardly get injured. I injure myself. Most of the time I injure my emotions. I hurt myself in my fifis. But when it comes to like physicality, listen to me. I know how to do this the most effective way. I live with myself. You
They
have seen
always
me
don't
for
listen.
5 minutes.
They always don't listen. They
No,
never will.
and no. I just let fucking listen, dude. I'm sorry for swearing. Just listen.
Then she remind me to a moment in my hospitalization few years back lah.
Uh-huh.
You know, when hospital you go to the hospital kan dah warded, you have to take the IV. They need to insert the IV line.
Mm-hmm.
So every single time you need to go to the procedure room, which I can't. I'm really sick. I'm really tired, and you ask me to. Okay, boleh turun sekejap. Let's go to procedure room. We need to take the IV line.
Ah,
And I would say, no, just do it here, please. I am tired already. Don't ask me to move around.
letih ah.
Yeah, this thing is like, I know, oh my god. But luckily, oh yeah, she don't listen. She's not listening. But then another doctor came. Yeah, she's the HO kan that time. So her MO came. She only listened to the MO, you know. And I was say, oh yeah, oh this patient, I know, yeah, just do it on the bed. Then only she do.
Uh, in that situation, my question is the nurse takut kena marah ke?
It's not the nurse, it's the HO.
Oh,
The medical, yeah. I think
what is
so. Maybe
HO?
takut
Houseman?
house. Yeah, right. Houseman.
Like the trainee lah.
The trainee. I think
Hmm.
she's scared maybe.
Takut kena marah kot.
Maybe lah, takut kena
But
marah. But then, should listen to the patient, right? I am already sick already. Then you
yeah,
ask me to move. Don't.
the other thing
Yes.
is you're a houseman to train how to deal with patients, right? I'm assuming you
Yeah.
mean houseman. I might be wrong. I don't know. But if it is a houseman, you're training to sort of be a good doctor, be an effective person in treating your patients, right? This is an opportunity for you to take initiative
Mm-hmm.
and listen
And
to your
then,
patient.
yeah, they won't listen. They're, you know, how do we make them listen to us?
I don't know.
I
I
don't
get
know.
so short with them. Like I start off very jovial. Like I said, I have a patient of a saint, right? I go in, I'm smiling. You have made me wait for 4 to 6 hours. I don't care. I'm here for you so that you can help me. So I'm smiling. I'm casual. I go in. I'm excited because new doctor, new questions. Hopefully
Uh-huh.
interesting. But questions boring. 10 minutes in, I'm like, kill me. I could set up a tape recorder to play the answers that you need. Go to the bathroom, buy a snack, watch a movie, come back, and it's still the same questions. Instead, when I go see a doctor, I want to talk about treatments, future things that I have to do, um, tests that I have to make as an adult with SMA. I need to check the milestones that I require, right? I don't want to talk about um, when when was I diagnosed? Was there a biopsy? Where was the biopsy? And I'm like, it's you why? It's in the file. My biopsy is not magically going to disappear. It happened when I was 4. I'm not going to suddenly decide, "Oh, I didn't have a biopsy." If that happens, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm gone. And the entity known as Shah has been replaced by an entity who is trying to answer your questions.
Oh, there's a
Exactly. If
comment.
only our systems are all digital. If only. But that's not gonna happen, is it? We can't even get a lot of things digital. The thing about digital, I know it's such a tangent, is the hospitals are so hesitant to get on it because they have so many files, and it will take so long for them to just come up with updating the system. And even that, the systems can get hacked in, and then all our information will be out and about because we as a country don't know how to deal with that. Also, I secretly
I
think,
think I've said before.
uh-huh, go ahead.
I think I've said before that my files are in digital format, the medical files, but they are locked. No one can access them, not even the doctors, and I don't know how to open that for them. I don't even know who locked my files.
Wait, what? Explain.
Yes. Like they want to check my medical files, my medical records in their system. And then they tell me your files are locked. And I'm like, what? My files are locked? Why? They say they don't
Yeah,
know. And I'm like, oh, okay.
What?
we're supposed to find out about it. What?
How?
How is it
I
not
don't
like?
understand. I okay. Here's the thing about the medical system in this country, right? About 60 to 75% of the medical professionals are all Luddites. They don't like technology. They legitimately are repelled by even the mention of the word digital. Like you tell them, I just found this on the internet. They're like, this is not cancer. I'm like, no, that's not what I meant. Anything digital puts them off because it requires them to learn a new system. But inherently, it is good for us patients. I agree with that. Better systems for documents and people. Because if we think about it, the medical system serves the people, not stores and stores, rooms and rooms of paper. Like, what if the place burns down and then
I
what?
mean, if they don't lock it, I mean, if they don't lock it, then it would be very helpful. But if they lock it, it's the same.
My question is, why did they lock it in the first place? Are
I
you a
don't know.
top secret
Classified?
experiment, Joyce?
Like, like what they told you classified? I don't know.
Are you a secret governmental, wait, what's the word? Governmental clone
Yeah.
that harbors
what,
some,
what district?
I don't know. Are you a spy?
What? Do I belong in the Pentagon? Something like that?
I don't.
I don't know.
Okay, we need a new shape. Instead of pentagon, it is a dodecahedron. Let's go. But yeah, why did they lock it? To whom does this
I
serve a
have no
purpose?
words. I don't know. I
What
don't know. I
is
don't know
there
what
like
is the
a
point.
dissenting group of doctors who are like, we must steal all the information about spinal muscular atrophy, and only the neuromuscular people know this. Ah, we have to infiltrate. Ah, and neuros are like, we need to lock the system. Also, I forgot my password. Do you know how many times a day? Okay, lah, maybe not how many times a day. I remember most of my passwords, but for the most part, if I haven't been to a website, I have to click forgot password.
I'm always doing that.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Exactly. So stop, doctor, stop locking patient files. Nobody's gonna steal that file. We're not special. We just have a disease. That's it. Um, yeah, what do you mean controlling access is hard for the bosses to control? While they are answering this, I'm just gonna say that what I want from the medical community is essentially better education on how to assist disabled patients, better training for them. That's it. That's all I want. I want them to collaborate with their patients.
And listen to the patient.
Listen.
Listen to the patient.
And the fact that people have to remember that not everyone is an autodidact. Autodidact is just the fancy Latin phrase for self-learner. Not everyone has the wherewithal to find information by themselves due to various factors, and that includes socioeconomic ones. If you don't know the color purple, you won't be looking for it. Socially, the human animal relies on professionals in the field to parse information for us. You specialize for a reason. So when the professional betrays us, betrays our trust by not making us informed, then of course we're going to get angry. It's incredibly cyclical, this issue. And if it's a problem, we go to finger pointing. It's awful. I understand that what I sound like I'm doing right now is I'm pointing fingers. The fingers are pointed, yes, but they're pointed towards everyone. It's not great. So everybody could know. Everybody's a problem. So Kev said, imagine it's not just stealing, it's privacy. Yes, I understand it's privacy, but within the medical system, if you're gonna put passwords, if you're gonna lock a particular system, you should do it in such a way where it doesn't lock out everyone. That's just basic common sense. Like there is a confidentiality clause within personal medical files as it is. But not understanding, wasting the patient's time while you fumble over how to open a file that belongs to your patient. That's not something that should happen ever. Especially when the patient has waited for you. Joyce, what happened after? Do you remember?
Yeah. Were you able
They
to
just told me that
unlock it?
uh, no, they just told me that they couldn't unlock it. I mean, I've been to appointments for like few times and they tell me the same thing. They would be like shocked. They would say, we can't access your files. And I'm like, why? And they say they don't know. So they don't even give a solution. And then, which is why I always bring my own files. Because if I don't do that, then they won't be able to see anything.
So after that happened, they still went through with all the testing that you need to do and conversations. Did they write it down anywhere? Or were you the only one who was making notes?
Well, they usually just take a few notes. And then after that, they don't really, they just like scan through the files and then they just nod their heads. And then after that, they ask about your condition. And it's the same old questions, general questions like, oh, what's your disease and blah, blah, blah. And how's your daily routine and stuff like that. You know, the usual mundane questions that you get when you go to the doctors.
See, I don't mind them questioning about daily routine. Our routines can change. And our
Yeah,
routines are
so
definitely affected by the core muscle strength that we have or how many spoons we have in a day. I get
yeah.
that. Those questions are fine. Those questions are pursuant to your well-being currently. But asking questions like, "Oh, what disease do you have?" It's in the file.
yeah, is it inherited disease? How many
Yeah,
people who
is it
yeah, you know?
inherited? How many siblings do you have? It's in the file. I told you last session that my parents are not having any children. They're also not having any more wives or husbands. I'm not acquiring any more siblings. There is no such thing as writing a strongly worded complaint to the department and admin because that would mean that they have to circumvent bureaucracy, which they won't. They will file that as a to do later and then never do it. Malaysia is just sorely, ridiculously stuck behind bureaucracy. It's like dealing with Vogons. And the poetry is even worse. Except A. Samad Syed, he's very good. What were we talking about? Joyce's choices. To which he has none. Joyce's choices.
He says stop.
Like, what else happened to you? Like, they ask the same kind of questions. I know. Do you remember the questions? Like the last time I went to the hospital was like 2019, end of 2019. So I will be okay if I get asked the same questions this time because it's been 2.5 years. It's fine.
My
Also, new
usual
doctor.
question is just like, yeah.
It's like, how many
Yeah,
siblings do you
yeah.
have? How many siblings have the disease? How many siblings are carriers? Here's another thing. I did a whole genetic testing on my whole family years ago. This was in the early noughties. I think. Yeah, it was the early noughties. We all got our blood sample taken, and it was shipped off somewhere, and we never heard back. So there is a vial of our blood floating somewhere.
So at the end, you still don't know the result.
I still don't know the result. So when I go to the doctor Nanti, I have to do it again.
Okay.
I can
Wild.
only guess that the vampires have already taken the blood vial.
It will be the worst tasting blood ever because it's got like, oh, I say that, but I'm also, you know, have a lot of fat content. When you don't have a lot of muscles, you kind of have more fat. So maybe it's like wagyu blood. Oh, but it's so stupid. I don't know what happened to the doctor. I don't even remember who. I do have a file of my own that I collect details of for every session, so I can sort of like bring it by. This is actually a suggestion from a good doctor. Actually, I'm not gonna name them, just in case they don't want to be mentioned. But they had some very good ideas. Bring your own file as a patient. Make records. If you want them to sort of be serious about something, ask them to be okay with having it written down and signed by them so you can catch them if it doesn't work out.
Hey, I did that and it's working. I tried
Wait,
that.
sorry?
I tried that and it's working.
Yes.
In fact, you know, when you try that, Dr. Amo, cooperative in talking to you, making conversation and asking like a lot of questions.
Uh-huh.
And you know, the doctors pun macam excited like, what else I need to know? Okay, is she like excited to write? Oh, do I need to fill in this too? Oh, okay. Never mind. Okay, that's all.
They get excited because now it's an activity. And
Mm.
I think that might work, but not all patients are like that. Not all patients are willing to bring a notebook. Not all
Yeah
patients
lah,
are
not all
type A personalities. Sometimes they'll be like, I forgot. You know the phrase lah, kalau if your head is not attached to your body, you will forget your head.
Mm.
You know, there are people like that. So you're gonna ask them to bring an extra book full of their medical information that they 100% will not forget to leave on a bench somewhere in the middle of Putrajaya. I don't know.
Yeah. And one more thing is that not all doctors are willing to write.
Exactly. And we all know the joke about doctors' handwriting. Even if they write, can you read it? I don't know.
True.
Even with new doctors, they should be able to pull up old files and spend time reading instead of wasting patients' time. I mean, that is ideally what is supposed to happen. Is the reason why they get files 2 weeks before meeting the patient. But here lies a problem. I understand that there's not enough time for doctors. We have doctors who are on call for 36 hours back to back. I understand that it is limiting to want them to read the entire file, but at least read the first page. 1 page. That is it. Read the words spinal muscular atrophy or whatever disease is on the first page. That is all. And run from there. We all went to school. We all were put in a position where the lecturer looked at us and asked a question we weren't paying attention. Roll with it, man. It's like the bedside manner for doctors is awful, atrocious. I'm not saying patients are great either. But they're in a position that is of service to the human race. Bare minimum, guys. Bare minimum. Yeah, what else? Oh, it is also 11:20, so we've got 10 more minutes. Kev the Great, thank you so much for joining us. Do you have any other questions that we may answer or try to? Mostly pertaining to us, because I can't say much about the current economic climate and doctor fraternity, because I'm not part of that.
You just had
a cut corner. I will tell you for a fact that I have had doctors. I have seen doctors since I was a small child, I will say that 80% of these doctors are cut corner doctors. 80%. Let's just say per visit. I used to see a doctor like Aina about once every 3 months for follow-ups. And then it becomes once every 6 months, and then once every year, and then COVID happened, and it was like, we'll see. But every time it would be one doctor, and if you were in a training hospital, you would have one doctor and a gaggle of housemen. And we're talking about maybe 7 housemen all staring at you,
Yes,
probably
all
tired.
bullying. All
And I'm
bullying
like,
at you.
I'm looking at them, hoping they would ask questions because these are the future neuromuscular specialists. Future.
No, they won't.
No
If they
questions,
would,
none whatsoever.
oh, it's like for me, they did ask questions. They asked.
What kind of questions can I ask?
The usual questions like can you move your hand? Like, what is the limitation? I want to know. Mm,
Interesting
Some
questions.
sort
I
of
didn't get
question.
those questions.
I never get those questions.
I
Oh,
think
either.
ni masuk PPOM lah, so I would go see them, and there'll be a gaggle of them. And sometimes they'll be just quiet. Sometimes I'll look at them and I'm like, do you guys have any questions? You have like an interesting patient in front of you right now. No questions at all? And then you have shuffling
Sometimes it
lah.
feels
Oh,
like a
sorry,
freak
that do.
show.
Am I terrifying? Is that
Sometimes it feels
it?
like a freak. No. Sometimes it feels like a freak show. You know, I mean, like
No, I don't
they are
mind.
staring at you.
I love questions. I love people asking about the disease because the more they know how to react and respond. I'm fine with that.
They don't ask.
They're just like you ever seen a troop of flamingos walk across the water?
Mm,
They're just looking up, down, left, right, up, down, left, right. Chem, like you're here to learn. Ask questions. You have that opportunity. I'm giving it to you. Ask me weird ass questions. I will answer them. For you, one day only. You don't even have to buy tickets. I'm here for free. I'm not even a
yeah,
cadaver. I'm alive.
sad to say lah. I mean, like, people don't like to ask questions.
Okay.
When you ask any questions, no.
No. It's like, just ask questions. Dumbass questions. Like,
Yeah,
did you have breakfast? No. Why? Because I don't eat breakfast. I will answer anything because I'm there to talk about the disease. I'm there to ask questions. I want to see where their trajectory is, and I want to look at my doctor to go, look, I am an informed patient. I can answer these questions. But what I want from you is further direction. Like, what have you heard in the realm of the medical society about this disease? How can this help me? You know that line, like, help me help myself.
Mm-mm.
Ooh, je. I'm not going
Maybe
to
they're
say
not
it's tak
curious.
susah.
I think they are not curious about it. No curiosity, not much.
I'm
Curiosity to
also
ask.
not saying that spinal muscular atrophy is the most interesting disease in the world. No, there are so many diseases out there. I understand that. But when you're talking to a patient who has SMA, sound interested. At least a little bit.
You know, it's not just the student, the medical student. I even had my cousin pun doctors.
Mm-hmm.
I once had
Says here.
I think it was in my grandma house lah. We bought that last time baru dapat, what is it called? The CA, cough assist machine.
Mm.
Purposely, I purposely do it in front of her, and was hoping that she was interested. She's a doctor, kan? But nothing came out from her. She was my cousin. I'm like, are you not interested what it is, or I feel like it's your thing, your medical thing. You're not interested, maybe lah kot.
Like, they're not curious as to why you look like Darth
No.
Vader.
Yeah, not at all. Like, not even looking at the cough assist machine. It's like, oh, okay, it's just a machine, the whatever, that's all. My grandma pula yang macam tanya, oh, okay, how do you use it? Okay, can I try like something? She's the one that I'm curious about.
That reminds me of a situation. This was again a while ago with a parent with SMA juga lah. A baby came out. That parent who was in contact with WCAJ told the doctor, "Can we put them on was it CPAP?
Bye bye. Bye bye.
BiPAP and cough assist." The doctor was like, "Tak payah. It
Oh,
won't make a difference." Padahal it does make a difference. You have to understand
it
that
does.
having spinal muscular atrophy, especially when you're a baby with SMA type 1, you cannot cough. You don't have the strength. So you need something else to suck out all the gunk. Like, I think once I told somebody, the question was, "Oh, how does it feel to have spinal muscular atrophy? What's the worst one?" And I was like, "Okay, I want you to not cough for 10 minutes." And it was the hardest thing they could have done. They cannot because you involuntarily cough. And even that, they were like, "Oh, damn, this is hard." And I'm like, "I know, right? Imagine that. Like that itch in your throat, that gunk pooling at the bottom of your trachea. And you cannot get rid of it.
And you're
It's just,
breathing at the same time.
and you're breathing at the same time. You sound like Darth Vader being strangled underwater. It's terrifying. And yet the doctor was like, "It's not going to help." But it
Yeah.
is, because eventually they kicked up such a stink that the doctor finally relented, got a machine in, and the baby did better. We don't know what would happen had they given up. That baby might not be here. I don't know what the family is doing right now. I hope them the best. I hope the baby has grown up significantly and become a wonderful person themselves. Also, we got 2 minutes before 11:30. I'm gonna close it by saying, outside looking in, we completely understand that the medical industry is inherently hyper capitalist. So much so that certain few politicians are actually trying to actively privatize it. Bad idea, by the way. Doctors and nurses are the people we need, but they also need work-life balance. They are overworked and underpaid. Also, tying into the fact that these professionals are leaving the country for a reason. Again, better work-life balance, better pay, just better everything. So is that what we really want for the future of Malaysia? To bully our healthcare providers so much that they genuinely lose empathy for us. I want you to all think about this and think about it well. Do some reading. I can't tell you what to read. There's so much. There's so much on the internet. But that's all we can talk about this week. I hope all of you enjoyed yourself. Yes, asking questions normally gets you scolded by elders for being stupid. Oh well. That is something we have to move away from. Ask dumb questions, because when you ask dumb questions, it opens your mind a little bit. Joyce and Ina, any ending, any final words before we end the session for tonight?
Don't lock my files.
Don't lock. Valid.
Listen
Ina,
to us.
listen to
Listen
us.
to us. Yeah.
Okay. With the do not lock our files and Ina listen to us and me going, look, we love you.
Yeah.
We hope you do great things. Be safe, be good. Thanks for listening. And we will see you next month with a different topic that we haven't figured out yet. Again, thank you for watching. We love you and good night.
Good day.